We did it. You can drink tea. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. We're going to hang out today and talk about mother-daughter travel. This is my own mother. This is my mom, Connie Perry.
Hi, everybody.
Do you
nice
wanna-
to meet you.
Do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Connie Perry, Stephanie's mother. Been her mother for 45 years.
And a half.
45 and a half years. I'm a retired hospital chaplain. And right now I enjoy myself traveling, and I call myself the accidental photographer because I run around and I take pictures and I walk by something, an object, and then I think, what in the world was that I saw? And I go back and I take a picture. And normally it's a pretty good photo and catches people's attention. So that's how I spend my time, besides teaching at Sunday school and a few other things.
Mm-hmm.
And I do want to say I do work with the senior ladies at our church, and I really, really enjoy that. That's Frontline Ministries in Dover, Delaware. And we call ourselves the Sophias. And if we were not on home confinement now, we would be out visiting floral gardens and all those kinds of things. We just enjoy ourselves. Our motto is live, sister, live.
Shout out to the Sophias.
Shout out to the Sophias.
All right. So we're going to talk. Leave your questions. Say hi to my mom in the chat. Say hi to her. If you're watching the replay, say hi to her in the comments. She'll see it. So we're going to just talk today. My mom and I, as some of y'all know, have taken some vacations together lately. And we are going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about also what it was like when I was like, oh, guess what, Mom? I'm going to quit my job and go to Thailand. Some people ask me like how to handle when your parents or your family are like stressed out about that. So we're going to talk about that kind of stuff, or whatever you want to talk about. You can just leave some comments in the chat. So first, and then we're also going to talk about how we traveled when I was a kid, because we took a lot of vacations and a lot of road trips when I was a kid. And I think that is a lot of the reason why it makes perfect sense for me to want to travel all the time, even though I didn't always enjoy those vacations. Like we had some struggles. So we're just going to talk about that kind of stuff. My mom, when I put the laptop up, my mom was like, oh, I'm so short. You didn't realize this? We have the same voice, so it might be a little weird to some people, but you'll get over it. You'll get used to it. On the phone, people are always like, or when you used to have to call the house phone, people would be like, what's happening? Mm-hmm. Why do you sound the same? Mm-hmm. All right. So we spent, when I was house sitting in Jay Jones. Hi, Jay Jones. Jay Jones. Oh, okay. Might be Jasmine.
Or Joe.
No, it's not Joe. Oh, it might be Joe. Hi, Joe.
No, it's his mom up here. Yeah.
So when I was house sitting in Mexico, my mom came down to visit me. My mom has come to visit me twice in Mexico. Mm-hmm. And we had two different experiences. The first time that trip was Janella. That's Janella. Hey, Janella. Hi, Janella. The first time Mom came for like 17 days.
With a friend.
With Carmen. And then the second time my mom came down for not that long. It wasn't that long.
Days or something.
Yeah. And we had two different experiences. So the first time my mom came to Mexico, first, we'll tell everybody what you thought. You came to Ajijic. What did you?
I came to Ajijic. I thought it was beautiful. It was a beautiful place. The thing that, and I guess we're going sort of in reverse of, but the thing that made me at ease about Stephanie traveling was the way she was able to move around in Ajijic. People knew her. People recognized her as she went about, and they would say, hola, Stephanie. And she would say, hola, whatever their name was. And she knew how to order her food, and she knew the money, and she knew all of that. So that's when I actually became really comfortable and confident that she would be okay traveling alone in other countries. We rented a 3-bedroom house. They called it a condo through Airbnb, and it was gorgeous. Mm-hmm. It was gorgeous. Just anything you could want there. They even had a bicycle there for us to ride. There was a gym in the condominium,
a pool.
Just anything you could want was there. So you almost felt like you were any place here in the States at a nice luxury resort, almost. And we rented a car, And Steffi drove us around, and I call her Steffi. So she drove us around and took the familiar places. And then she also shared with Carmen and myself that there were places that she had wanted to go on her own, but she didn't want to go alone, of course. And so we were able to go to some really, really nice restaurants and some other towns and villages. And I loved it. I loved Mexico. That's why I loved it enough to go back the second time. I felt comfortable there. Before we left, Stephanie had Carmen and myself learn Spanish on Duolingo. And so we knew a little bit when we got there, but we sort of relied on Steph to get us around and to take care of us. And so as we would go out of the gate, the gatekeeper would put up the gate at the condo for us to go out. And he would speak to us in Spanish, Buenos dias, señoritas, blah, blah, blah. And we would just wave out the car window. And Steph would fuss at us, says, you know what to say it, stop that. And even counting money, sometimes we'd give her our money for her to make the change or for her to pick out how much we needed to give the vendor. And she would make us do that. So it was a lot of fun. Again, having Carmen with us, I think, was really fun too. The three of us together, because there were some days that Stephanie actually needed to stay behind and work. And then Carmen and I were able to go out in the car and do what we wanted to do, or just go spend a couple hours at the gym while she completed her tasks for the day. So it was really nice. I loved the 3 or 4 different towns we visited in the various times that we were there.
Hey, Tish. Hey, Soprano Musings Abroad. That's niece. Hey,
Hi.
y'all. Yeah. So when Mom and Carmen came down to Mexico, I was prepared to be tour guide, but I didn't realize how much of a tour guide I was going to have to be, and it wore me out. It wore me out. I don't know if do y'all travel with like family or people who you have to do the planning for? Because I'm not a big planner. I don't plan too much. I do stuff or I don't do stuff. And it wore me out. The money, Mom's laughing about the money thing, but she would have like a 100 peso bill in her hand. The man would say, this is 80 pesos. And she would turn to me. I'm like, give the man, you know what 180, you know what 100 minus 80 is. Just give him your pesos. It did wear me out. I was like, we're not going to make it. If the trip, so they were there for 17 days. If our vacation or their vacation had been like 13 days total, they would have gone home like, I'm never coming back again, because we had it. I had it. But then after so the first few days were wonderful. Then we had a couple of days where I was like, no more. And then we came out on the other side where it was like, this is fun. Yeah. Come back another time in a few months after I've
give me a break.
Niece said it's stressful for me when you have to plan everything for somebody on a trip. But it's your mom, you have to do it. Yeah, but my mom can do it. My mom is a solo traveler also. So my mom can go when she feels like it. So my mom is married. My dad, you would think that it was just my mom and me, but there's a dad here. He's just not in the house
right now.
So my dad, and he will not come to Mexico. He will not come to Mexico. But he's like but my mom will go. We've had when I was like already out of the house, my mom would be like, oh, I'm going to a monastery, not a monastery.
I did a monastery convent.
Yes. She'd be like, oh, I'm going to go stay at the convent for a week, so Connie Perry can go. Like, that's what I always say. Connie Perry be going. Yeah. I always tell people she'll get in the car and go. So it's not like, mom had no idea how to travel solo. Yeah. So that wasn't the thing.
It's a new place. New language.
The new language. Yeah, so that's right. And when we were like, when people would say good morning to us and stuff, I'd be like, just practice. You have to say it. Once you start saying it, it makes it easier to go a little bit further in conversation the next time. But you have to get started. You can't just
wave all the time. They want to know you have a voice.
So that was the first time, and Mom came to Mexico, and I think that changed everything. Like, that changed. I had been traveling solo since September 2015. I had been out traveling more than I was home, and I think until that point, Mom was kind of like nervous and worried. But now I feel like you don't. Right. don't care.
No, I just know that you know how to handle yourself. And there may be things that may have occurred that I don't know about, and that's okay. But the fact that, I saw you in action and I saw how the people responded to you, just made all the difference. We actually went line dancing at the country club with some of her friends. Some of the people that she actually house sat for were I'm just very, very welcoming to Stephanie. I don't know what else to say. And that just made me feel so good. They cared about her. And she was not just there to house sit, but we became friends, dinner companions, all of that. And that made a world of difference. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when people want to talk about, they want to come down when I'm in Mexico, they want to come down for a visit. I'm like, you can, but all my friends are 80 years old.
Yeah.
You can come, but the turn up is going to be what 80-year-olds do.
Dinner at 4.
Dinner's at 4 o'clock. Literally, dinner is at 4 o'clock. If they invite you over to their house, it might be 4:30. Mm-hmm. And then when the sun goes down, the day is over.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's why it's really nice to go to one place and know that place. Mm-hmm. Before, when I traveled around, I moved from place to place, pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. Like I might stay in one town for a month, but then, move on to the next one. But it's nice to be a house sitter in one town in Mexico and know people. Right. And just know stuff, know where the grocery store is and know what restaurants you like and where the coffee is too expensive and,
where the breakfast is really good.
Yeah. So on our last live stream, we talked all about our favorite and least favorite destinations. And the secret came out that I only rank based on food. Like how good is the food and how much does it cost? If it's good food and it's cheap food, it's probably my favorite place. So that's one thing that I found out from traveling with my mom, that we have we're both food motivated and we don't mind. Like we're not ashamed to be like, I love this restaurant and I'm going back to eat at this
tomorrow.
I'm so excited to have leftovers. I'm taking these leftovers and I can't wait to eat these leftovers tomorrow back at our Airbnb. Yeah. Whereas my dad is not that person. Yeah. He's hard to travel with. Yeah. He's hard to travel with. So
he doesn't have an inquiring taste. He wants the same thing over and over. Mm-hmm. He used to work in corporate America. And so he would travel internationally all the time, Spain, England, Switzerland, almost Germany, any place you could name, he has been. And when he'd come home, I said, well, what did you eat? And he would say, I had a hamburger. He doesn't trust the food overseas. He was stationed, I guess, in Vietnam for a while. And he thinks all the food is something terrible out of that area. And so he just will not try new foods, hardly. Even in the States, there's some places, some things he just won't try. He's going to have this meatloaf or something in a nice restaurant. I don't know. We tell about the time we went to Los Angeles. Oh. And we ate at Lowry's Steakhouse.
Yes.
Oh my!
We ate it's called Lowry's the Prime Rib, right? They are the prime rib. That's what they're telling you from the name of their restaurant. It was one. We were in a line. So we went to Price is Right. We went to a live taping of Price is Right together, me, my mom, and my dad. Mm-hmm. And in the line, just a girl in front of us was like, my mom said, where should we eat? Mm-hmm. My mom, who has no problem talking to strangers. Where should we eat? And the girl was like, do you like steak? And my mom was like, I like prime rib. And the girl was like, then go to Lowry's. So we went to Lowry's, the prime rib. We had a totally different experience from my dad, which is why we don't travel with him. He can't come with us. He was like, not happy. Like, how can you not be happy at the prime rib? They come to your table and they carve whatever doneness you want. Yeah. If because they have a prime rib that's like one prime rib that is like different. There's some well done, well done parts. Mm-hmm. There's some medium. There's some rare.
Thickness you want. Oh my God! And it was so good. It was good. And he did not enjoy himself. He had the tiniest portion that you could get, and he just didn't enjoy it. But we had a ball. We do. We're good food connoisseurs.
So that's why it's one of the reasons that we can travel together well. The things that are the most important to us we share those things.
Museums.
Mm-hmm.
Flower garden.
And then the small stuff, we're like, whatever. Hi, Financial Garden. I'm sorry, I can't remember your name, but hi, I know you. She says,
not a hamburger.
I love traveling with my mom too.
Okay,
when's the last time you guys traveled together, and where did you go? Let us know in the chat. Let us know when the last time was you traveled with your mom, or where did you go? Or would you never? I don't want to discriminate against hamburgers, because I do eat McDonald's in every country. Like it's on my list. There's not a whole lot of stuff I want to do everywhere, but I want to eat McDonald's in every country because it's different. And in the Philippines, no matter what time of day you go to McDonald's and no matter what you order, they give you a little container of white rice. Yeah, so you get to see what different countries have on their menu, because McDonald's caters to, what local tastes are. And they also have bomb apple pie. Every McDonald's outside of the US has the fried apple pie. In the US, the apple pie is the baked apple pie, which is not good. And so we went to Memphis last year, and I was like, oh, we got to go to McDonald's, because for some reason I was thinking that we were going to get a fried apple pie because I had gotten on a plane and gotten off a plane, and that must mean the McDonald's is going to be better. So we went to McDonald's, and it was a baked apple pie, and I was like, I forgot we were in America. I was so disgusted. So I'm not against going to McDonald's or eating hamburgers when I travel. Because I always eat McDonald's, and I usually try to eat KFC too, because KFC varies differently from the taste, like the actual flavor from country to country. Some places, they don't even bother to season the KFC. And that's interesting. South Africa was one of the places where I went to KFC, and it was like they had never heard of the 11 herbs and spices. Like, you would think it would, at least the chicken, if everything else tastes different, at least the chicken would taste the same, but it didn't. Tasha. Hi, Tasha.
Hi, Tasha.
Oh, Tasha took her mom to Hawaii for Mother's. Don't read that, Mom.
Well, I've been to Hawaii, so I'm okay. I did go there with Dad. Yeah. That was nice. That was for our 50th anniversary.
Yeah. So what we have in common is the food, right? And the whatever. We'll do whatever. If we have a day where we don't do anything on a trip, we're perfectly fine with that. And if we have a day where we do stuff, we're perfectly fine. Whereas some people would be like, you stayed in an Airbnb all day, or you stayed in a hotel all day. Mom likes hotels, so you just stay in a hotel. She's fine with that. And then the things that we have that are different are stuff that we already know, like today. So today, Mom's like, I'm going to iron. Mom ironed her shirt. Like, there was no question she was going to iron her clothes. I said I had a different shirt, and it had a collar on it. And I was like, yeah, I'm about to go iron the collar of my shirt. And she said, you can iron the whole shirt, but I don't iron. That's just not something I do. So if we're on a trip and we're going somewhere, I know that Mom has ironed her clothes before she put them in a suitcase. And I know that when she takes them out of the suitcase, 90% chance she's going to iron them again. And so you can't be like, let's go. Because Connie Perry's going to iron her clothes before she goes somewhere. And she's going to have to also accept that I'm going to look like a wrinkled mess. The pro tip to that is just wear clothes that are really tight, and people won't really know that your clothes are wrinkled. That's mostly my clothing strategy. Wear tight clothes. They don't look so wrinkled. Monique. Hi, Monique. Monique is the Monique who took me around in Amsterdam.
Oh, hi, Monique. How are you? Nice to meet you online.
When I got to Amsterdam last year. So since we've said some stuff about my dad, when I got to Amsterdam last year, my dad had just had a massive heart attack, and I was not happy, right? Because I was house sitting in Amsterdam, and I needed to wait another week before I could get back home, at least. Might have been 2 weeks. And Monique spent the day with me and helped me.
Bless your heart. Thank you.
Took good care of me. Also took some bomb pictures of me in the flower fields.
Those were beautiful, the tulips and all.
Yeah.
Thank you, Monique.
So that's why it's good to reach out to people when you're abroad. I had already met Monique, but if you're somewhere and you don't know people, you can reach out. Like, Facebook groups are full of people Facebook travel groups are full of people who are just like, hey, I'm in such and such a place. You all want to hang out for a while. Don't stay alone if you don't feel like being alone. Yeah. Monique, if it's someplace I've been before or a nice hotel, I could stay in all day. Yeah, I don't mind. Mom Mom has like favorite hotels, Opryland Hotel, and hotels where you can hang out for the day. Isn't it called Opryland?
Yeah, the Gaylord Hotel.
Gaylord. Places like that where you can hang out all day, and she's perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, I like some lesser, like the Fairfield Inn by Marriott. Just any hotels. Definitely like sort of nicer, but not extravagant hotels, but nicer hotels.
I like nicer when you pay.
Yeah, and I do pay.
When I'm paying, I'm staying in a hostel.
Yeah. And I wouldn't even mind trying that. But like Steph said, a lot of older people do not stay in hostels.
No, I didn't say that.
I thought you
no,
did.
they
Okay.
do.
But it seemed like that would be a nice adventure, like the adventure at the convent. I mean, it was bare bones, but I did enjoy it. I stayed it when I was in college. Of course, I stayed in seminary, and I liked that because it was bare bones. It was truly bare. I was a little younger then, so the steps didn't bother me. But I like those adventures where you just live. I guess you say live off the land. Just give up some of the privileges and just enjoy the experience of being there. That's what I like. And that's what we get from traveling.
Yeah, I get that from Mom. Let's see. Let's try it and see. Let's see what happens. Yeah. So people do stay, older people do stay in hostels. I would stick to hostels where you have, like, some of them have bunk beds and some of them just have beds, rows of single, I was gonna say flat beds, like rows of single beds. And you can also get your own private room. I've met, like, Europeans and Asians believe in staying in hostels, and they do it from young to old. So I've met 60 and 70-year-old people in hostels, and they usually like to sit and talk to me because I'm like, I'm hanging out. Like, a lot of people go stay in a hostel and they're out from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. I might leave at noon and then go back at 3 or 4, go back out at dinner time. So they like hanging out and talking to me because I'm going to be there. You know, I don't have any place to go.
And if I wanted to say anything about the hostels, is that one thing Stephanie has done for me to help to ease my mind is she sends me her itinerary. Before she leaves the current place, she'll send me the itinerary for the next location. And in that, she gives me the name of the hostel or whatever place she's staying in and the address. And then I go online and I Google it, and I can see almost every square inch of the place where she's staying. So when I speak to you all even about hostels, I can see, you know, the bedrooms, I can see the kitchen, I can see the dining area, I can see the public areas, the street it's on, I can visualize that. And so I'm thankful for that because that lets me know that, you know, she is my baby and she's not out there struggling. You know, she's living a good life. And like she said, meeting people. And so that helped me an awful lot, because when she first said, I'm going to Thailand, I thought she said she was going to Taiwan, and I didn't know the difference. And it tore me up. I had everybody that I knew and people I didn't even know praying for her that she would change her mind. But I'm grateful that she persevered, and I'm grateful for all the experiences that she's had, the people she's met along the journey. So yeah, that's what helped me, the fact that I could look up the places and see. And then one night I was sitting on my sofa, and I'm not sure if she was gone or if she was still here, and House Hunters had an episode on Chiang Mai, and that's Thailand, right? And some of the people were looking for housing in Chiang Mai, and I watched that, and I got to see, you know, the parts of the area that they were visiting. I didn't see all of it, but where they were visiting, and that made me more content as well.
Yeah, Mom always says that. She'll be like, "Oh, I saw such and such a place on House Hunters," and that helps. Like, believe it or not, that really helps. It helps her like see that this is a real place with like real homes and real people, and it looks safe. It doesn't look like some kind of war zone or whatever.
Right.
That really
it did help.
Yeah,
it
that
really settled me down an awful lot.
Yeah. Somebody, hi, always talking. Hi. She says, your mom is so beautiful. We have the same face. So I'm going to take that as a personal compliment.
Thank you. I just turned 73 and I'm so grateful for everything.
Yes. Happy belated birthday. Yeah. Mom's birthday is April 15th. Yeah. So House Hunters did help. It's true. Like, when I'm on a podcast interview, I always tell the story because it's hilarious. But it's true that when I said to my mom and dad, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to go to, I didn't even tell them that I was going to travel around. I knew at the time that I was going to travel around, but I told them that I was going to Thailand for a year because I just thought that was easier. And I kind of recommend that, I think, to people. If you think your family is going to freak out, just give them one location, I think, right? Yes, and then they can look up that one location and see that it's okay. And I think that it would help them feel a little less upset than if you were like, I'm just going to be, I don't know where for the next year. So that's what I told them. I'm going to Thailand. I told them that I knew that there were Black people traveling in Thailand. I knew that from Nomadness Travel Tribe. I didn't know any of them personally, but I told them that I would reach out and I'll make sure that I have a community of people in Thailand. And, that was that. And my dad, his first reaction was fine. Do what you want. Cause that's his life philosophy. Do what you want.
As long as it makes you happy.
Yes, he really is. So he was like, fine, do what you want. And my mom was like, not fine. This is not going to happen. The whole world called me. I got phone calls from people I hadn't talked to in years. I remember Kimmy, my cousin Kimmy called me, and she was like, hey, what's in Taiwan? And I was like, I don't know, Kim, what's in Taiwan? Aren't you going there? I was like, my mom is all worked up and she don't even know what country I'm going to. Taiwan is like economically like paradise. If she's going to be upset about anything, you'd think she'd be upset about Thailand, not about Taiwan. Taiwan is basically Japan,
Oh, okay.
But yeah, she was upset, not about the, like, I'm quitting my job thing, but about I'm going to be out in these countries that nobody knows about,
Right.
Right.
Well, the thing was, I said to Steph, Stephanie is okay being alone. She's okay being by herself. She's always been from the time she was a little girl. She's all right with that. But my fear was if she left for the day and she wasn't home by a certain hour, that nobody would know that. That was my fear. Who's going to know that you're not back in your room? That was my fear, And she told me some stories about some older ladies that she met, different places. One woman out sweeping the street who gave her some guidance as when she was heading a certain direction and things like that. And so then I began to know that my mother's favorite psalm was Psalm 91. And in that, it says that God will give his angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. And I said, yes, Lord, you're hearing my prayers. You're hearing the prayers of all my prayer partners, and you're giving her angels charge over her to guide her. And so then I began to settle down a little bit. And then we used so many social media to stay in touch, because I was afraid I wouldn't hear from her either, but with Messenger, Facebook Messenger, and we even have one of those portals that we don't use much. And all of that, I was able to see her. And I think that's what gave her dad contentment, because he would say, you heard from Stephanie? And it would be like, he'd say it and 10 minutes later she would call, And so he could see her and see that she looked good. She always looked beautiful over there. And people would say to me, oh, Steffi, I saw a picture of Steffi. She looks so nice. I said, you would too, if you didn't have anything to do all day but lay around and sun yourself.
I recommend it.
So you would look good too, but she always looked like she was well taken care of. And that gave me a lot of peace of mind. So I say, if you have young people in your life who want to try to venture out and see what's out there beyond the, social constraints of home, I would say encourage them, support them, and let them go. And then they bring you in certain ways. They bring you into where they are. There's a picture on my bedroom wall. What was that taken? That picture of you walking?
Palawan in the Philippines.
And I got that picture. I don't know how I don't know if you just sent it to me or how, but when I saw that, it's like, yes, that's the journey she's on. There was mountains, there was water, there was hills, there was greenery, and I'm thinking, she was walking away from the camera. And I'm thinking, that's the journey she's on. Lord, let her have that journey. Let her have that journey. And vicariously, I get to share with vicarious where she's going. And I get to share that with other folks as well. So, it's been a beautiful journey. I'm grateful right now in the season of COVID that she's home.
Yes, me too.
She came home just about a month before. And if I would say anything that gave me really relief and gratitude is that I know where she is and I know how she's doing during this season. And she makes me breakfast almost every morning.
Yes, that's my job.
So I'm thankful. There's been a lot of good adventures that have come out of this. And I'm thankful for every adventure, because I like exploring. I explore locally and regionally. And I like exploring. And I'm thankful that she's got all this in her head and in her memory, and that she gets to share it with all of us and to meet new people as she goes along. I talk a lot, so Steph got to
It's
cut
good.
me off.
No, this works. This works. This way I don't have to do all the talking. Yeah, my mom, Connie Perry can talk. Connie Perry can talk. Yeah, I'm going to call you by your screen name, Soprano Musings Abroad. Niece is like, I wish I could meet people. I wish it was easier to talk to people. I would say that I'm not. So when I take those tests, I always test as an introvert. I don't have much problem talking to strangers or whatever, but I don't usually initiate conversations. If you're the person who is not the person who starts conversations with strangers, it's okay. You can still meet people. Just let those people who are the people who always talk to strangers, let them talk to you, right? All you have to do is look available. I just sit at a restaurant sometimes, put my phone down for a second. Somebody will stop and have a conversation with you. There are extroverts wherever you go. And they do that. They do their extrovert thing. You do your introvert thing. They find you. It's really easy. So you don't have to practice too much. All you have to do is when you're walking down the street and someone says hi, you say hi, how are you? And then next thing you know, you have a friend. In Thailand, in Vietnam, there was a lady at the nail shop next to the house that I was renting a room in a house. And she worked at the nail shop next door. And every day when you walk down the street in Vietnam anyway, they're just like, where you go? Where you go? The Vietnamese ladies, they're very nosy. Where you go? So she would be like, where you go? Where you going? So one day I was like, oh, I'm going to go get some clothes made, I think. So she, of course, pointed me to the shop that she thought I should go to. Next thing you know, we're having a conversation. She tells me she's pregnant. She's having a baby. We sit down. And then from then on, we were friends. Like we became friends. She said, my name is Ha. And I said, there are a lot of women in Vietnam. There are a lot of women here in Vietnam named Ha. She's like, yeah, Ha, like Hanoi. I don't know if that means her name was Hanoi. I still don't know. But she said, everybody's named Ha like Hanoi. So anyway, every evening after I would go to whatever restaurant I was going to go to for dinner, I would sit down with Ha and we would eat ice cream. I would go to the little corner store, buy ice. Because one day she was like, you eat ice cream every day. Yes, I do eat ice cream every day. And we just sat down and talked and we became friends. That's something that you don't know happens when you're living your regular life. You don't just sit down and start conversations with random people when you're living regular life. But when you get to travel long term, you get to see that people will just stop and have a conversation with you. And you decide if you want to have a conversation with them. And boom, friends. I stayed in that place for a whole month. Pretty much every day I sat and talked to Ha for at least a few minutes, if not longer. Sometimes she would make fun of people as they were driving up and down the street. And I'm like, how do you know these words? Her English was pretty good, even though she thought it wasn't. I'm like, how do you know how to make fun of people in English? And she told me about her husband who worked in another town and he worked construction and he, how he could only come home every few days and, just what life was like for her. We think a lot of times that the stranger is a danger. But the stranger is you in a different place, and they have to say, they're still people. And I've been helped by people for no reason in every city that I've ever walked into. So you don't have to feel like you have to know how to meet people. You just have to be open for when they say hi, you just say hi back.
Remember the lady at the marketplace, was it Guanajuato? And we were waiting to get a Uber back to the hotel. And this lady came up. I don't know if it must have been a religious day because most everybody was dressed up like they'd been to church or something. And she struck me because she had the same color hair as a person I call her my backdoor neighbor here. And same complexion. She was Mexican. But she's the same hair colors. So I kept looking at her and I found myself moving closer and closer to her. And so I tried with Stephanie's help to have conversation with her. And we asked her about this particular place we wanted to go, that place way up high where we look down over the city. We asked her about that. And then she looked at me and she pointed and she said, I'm your friend, And I was like, wow, amazing. I'm your friend, she said. And I said back to her, I'm your friend. I don't know I don't remember if I asked her name or not, but it was just like Steffi said, sometimes it's just saying hello, even in a strange place. I was at the meat market the other day here. And the lady in front of me, she looked familiar to me. We all had our masks on, standing 6 feet apart, but she looked familiar. She kept turning around and we kept having conversation back and forth. And finally I asked her, what is your name? No, I think I said to her, did you volunteer at the hospital? And she said, yes. And I said, what is your name? And she told me, and she happens to be a member of the photo club that I'm in. Mm. And I see her, we have a group here called Delaware Small Wonder. And we go around and we take pictures and we post them on that site. And she happened to be a person from there. If I had never said hello to her, even here, I would not know that I had met her. But yeah, and I used to say that when I worked at the hospital. If you just say hello to somebody, you find out something you have in common. So rather it's home in your own backyard, at your local supermarket, or halfway across the world in another country, hello opens up a lot of doors.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hi, Gogo. Gogo says hi.
Hi, Gogo.
I love this. Mom has all your social media info. Yeah, she does. But she's on it. She's on. You can follow her on Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah, you are. Mom, GAN_MOM. She's on Instagram. She might post the same picture twice back to back by mistake.
Stephanie, stop it.
But she's on.
That's why.
But she's on Instagram. You can follow her, and Facebook. I mean, I wouldn't become my mom's Facebook friend today if I had known, because she's real funny about Facebook. She'd be deleting stuff. She instead of just scrolling past people's stuff, she like hides every post that she doesn't like. And so don't follow her on don't follow her on Facebook, but you can follow her on Instagram, GAN_MOM. All right. So, okay. So I was telling the story about how my mom was like, no, when I said I was going to go to Thailand, but we talked to, Rashida and I talked to 12 Black women who were taking a career break to travel. Mm-hmm. And pretty much all of them said that when they talked to their family about taking a career break, they were surprised how their parents, because most of the women were in my age group. Most of the women were in their 40s, some were in their 20s and 30s, but most were in their 40s. And they talked about how their parents were like, oh, good. Not like you must work all the time. And I think that was a big surprise. But you guys, I have had periods where I didn't work before. After, when I came out of the Army, I stayed home for a while. I was going to school. And then one time I took a long stretch in between jobs. I think I was also going to school at that point. But yeah, so it wasn't, the struggle wasn't you must work all the time. No. I think a lot of people think their parents think that, but your parents don't think that. They want you to have a life. Yeah, a life. Mm-hmm. That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. My mom retired at retirement age. My dad retired pretty early. Mm-hmm. And so they know, like, working until you're just broke down is not the way to go. Yeah. So I think we agree on that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anybody new want to say hi to my mom? I'm going to put a little comment here. What do you think we have any consistent, like repeating problems when we travel together?
Sometimes it's like, where do you want to go? Or where do you want to go? What do you want to go? Where do you want? And then, so then sometimes we make it into a thing. I'll go where you want to go. No, I'll go where you want to go. And so sometimes it takes us a while to decide what we're going to do. Because sometimes I rely on Stephanie because she has knowledge of the place. She turns to me because I've done some research of the area, and I have some ideas where I might like to go too. But I don't know distance from one location to the next and how we would travel. We travel by bus, we've traveled by Uber, we've traveled by taxi, we've rented cars. So, it just depends. I try to defer to her because like she'll say sometimes, I've never been there. I've been in this location for a while, but I've never been to that particular place. And so I want her to get that opportunity to go there while I'm there, because again, I have the money. Mm-hmm. And I don't mind spending it with Stephanie. I do not. I enjoy every penny I spend with her. We have a lot of fun. We do. We bicker a little bit about some things, but we enjoy ourselves together. It's a blessing that we can do this together.
We bicker, but we get along.
Yeah, we get along.
But I don't. That whole where do you want to go? I don't know. Where do you want to go? Thing. I can't stand it. I can't stand that. I'm only going to be responsible for a handful of things that we're going to do during this trip. if you're here for 17 days, you need to work on planning some of these 17 days. I can't. Oh, that's the worst part.
And so we separate, we go to our rooms for a while or outside, and then we come back together and say, well, let's go such and such. And we go, and we're glad we went when we go. We're glad. Wherever we decide to go, we always have a good time.
We always have a good time.
We have a good time. God, it's just wonderful. For me. I'm grateful that she wants me around her at this age.
We get along. So a lot of people don't know what it's like to know your parents as people, but I do. Well, I've lived here a lot.
Yeah.
Even before, like I would move back in a heartbeat. And my dad would be like, you get 3 months, you get 3 months, and then you have to be gone again. I've lived here a lot, but a lot of people don't get to know their parents as people. But I know my mom is a night owl. My brother said something not too long ago, a couple years ago, and I was like, Connie Perry be up till 2 a.m. He didn't know that. It surprises me, but just some stuff that people don't know about, like little stuff that makes up their personality that you don't know, that I do know because I've lived here for a long time. I've lived here a lot. And then we traveled together. When I was little, we did road trips. And so we're like a road trip family. We love road trips. And when people say they don't like them, I'm like, how could you not? It's wonderful. You do whatever you want to do. But that's because when I was a kid, that's what we did. We flew, I think, twice. I remember we probably flew to Ohio when we moved from Delaware to Ohio. And then we flew back to back to Delaware one time. But other than that, we drove. We drove up and down the East Coast.
We've been into every state except Vermont.
My dad drove us all up and down the East Coast.
Canada.
His favorite thing was to go to Disney World in August. So we drove. And then when we moved to Ohio, it was all about driving back and forth to Delaware to see family. But, so we are good with road trips. We're good hanging out, just like doing whatever.
Stop here, stop there. When I first got married, that was one of the things that my mother-in-law encouraged, was that we take trips. She had been a pastor's wife, and I think through the Methodist Church, they had gone on bus trips, how they do. And so she said she wanted us to go to Canada, to Niagara Falls, and she wanted us to go down to the Luray Caverns in Virginia. Yeah. And she only lived like a year or so after we were married, but we did get to go to those two places while she was still alive. But that was one of the things she encouraged us from the very beginning: take vacation. And we did. And so my husband and the children, Jeff and Steph, we've always gone on vacations. And after Stephanie moved out and I was still working, Joe and I would go on vacations, probably a long weekend vacation, probably every 2 or 3 months. We would go somewhere, So you should see my refrigerator full of magnets from everywhere. But we've done that. And I think it's important. It opens you up to so many new opportunities and so many new ways of being, and then it opens you up to wanting to do more, to go more. So I really do appreciate Stephanie's desire and desires. I met the, what do you call them? The travel nomads?
Nomadness. Yes.
Nomadness. Last year I was able to go with her to Memphis to their conference. And it was just wonderful seeing people from all over, mostly young people, but there were some retirees in the group, just sharing their stories and their adventures. And, that was really great for me too, to be in the midst of those people. And they would say, this is Stephanie's mom. This is Stephanie's mom, So I enjoyed that. I just enjoyed the people. Everybody was so warm in that group. And I think it's because they never meet a stranger. And I think when you never meet a stranger, your heart is open to the persons you meet.
Yeah. Monique says, do you think we'll do any road trips this summer? My mom and I are being obedient, and we are saying we are good at social distancing. We are, as much as we like to go, we are hermits. We can stay in the house for days and weeks at a time, no problem. So I don't know. So my dad.
We're talking about Florida.
Are we talking about going to Florida?
You said we might go to Marathon Key down in the Keys.
No, I didn't.
We were joking about what we're going to do with our stimulus money. Maybe that's what. It was
Yes.
just a joke.
Yes. No. Well, I mean, so mom was going to spend her money on Florida, and I was going to spend my money on either a puppy or a baby. So I didn't think we were serious.
Well, we're probably not too serious, not until things really clear up.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't trust. I don't know. There's no place that I would want to go to over the next couple of months.
And I would definitely don't want to be in an airplane
no
during this season.
No, but so for road trips, I don't know. I'm not planning on doing any. I'm planning on being right here through the summer. But I don't know if things like clear up miraculously, then maybe we'd take a road trip. Maybe we'll go down to Marathon Key. My mom and dad went to Key West together
3 winters ago.
And this is how horrible he is to travel with.
Stephanie, stop, because somebody may know him.
They drove all the way down, drove to the Keys, drove through the Keys, and didn't stop anywhere. My dad's like, okay, I'm ready to go back home. She was like, no, we're not. We're going to stay here. We're staying here for a few days. He thought that they were going to get in the car in Delaware, drive to Key West, and drive back in like 3 days. So he has a different style. We like to meander.
Like to linger.
We like to meander. And what is this thing? Let's see. Let's see.
Turn down this road and see what's down there. Yeah.
He is not that person.
He's ready to go and come.
So I won't go, like, not kidding. If he's going, I'm not going to go. Like, that's just, that's a rule I have set. After Los Angeles, I can't. I don't even know how mom handles it. She's strong.
Well, you just disappear. I take my camera and I disappear. And then I turn my phone off. And then 2 or 3 hours later, I will look and I'll see that he's been calling me like crazy. And I'll say, oh, were you calling me? And he says, yeah, are you ready to go? And I said, well, give me another half an hour or so. And that's how we do it. And he knows I'm doing it. I'm sure he knows it. It's been 51 years. But anyway, that's the way we do it. And it works out. And then someplace he really, really enjoyed. He enjoyed the Keys once we were there. The water is so crystal blue. It's the most beautiful water on the Gulf of Mexico. Oh, it was so beautiful. And he enjoyed once he was there. But it's just getting him there. You know, he loves to drive. He'll drive you anywhere. But he just doesn't like to linger once he's there. He wants to see it and then take a couple pictures and then turn around. You know, so, and I know that. So we work it out. It works out.
Tish said he sounds like my father. So do you travel? When's the last time y'all went somewhere? Where did y'all go? When I was little, a certain person in our family was a terrible snorer. And so our road trips, as much as we enjoyed going places, for me, the road trips were 5 sleepless nights, and then 5 days of doing a lot. You know, like you have to do a lot all day and then be sleepless all night. So I remember just being really grumpy when we traveled. It's a miracle that I still like travel, because I remember those nights, like just we're in a hotel room and like how I remember going to the bathroom and trying to lay down in the bathtub. Like, so it's a miracle that I still like traveling, but I do.
You do. Yeah.
Yes, I don't know. I didn't think we were serious about the Keys.
No, we're probably not at this time, but you know, it's always good to have a dream.
Yes. Keep hope alive.
Keep hope alive.
Yeah. So we might plan something later, but not.
It wouldn't be till like January or something. I wouldn't even go to Florida in the summer.
No.
The last time we went, it was in January. And it's beautiful down there in January. That's what my husband loved about it. He said, I can't believe we're sitting out here in January at 10 o'clock at night. You know, we stayed in Miami a couple of nights. And then we drove down to the Keys from there. He's like, I can't believe we're sitting out here in January and it's this warm and it's this pleasant. And so if I went, it would have to be like January.
I remember the time before you retired, y'all went to Florida. I guess, I don't know, Florida in January. And you were like, it's 75 degrees.
Yeah.
And that was, I don't know, y'all were somewhere up north. Maybe you went to Orlando for the timeshare thing. Because my mom and dad do that thing where you sit through the timeshare presentation and you get the free condo or the cheap, the inexpensive condo. We've done that a handful of times and they still do it. They do it a lot. And mom was like, it's 75 degrees. It might've been 80. It's 80 degrees and it's January. I'm like, no kidding, mom. That's why people retire to Florida.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Myrtle Beach, wherever.
Yeah. All right. So we talked about that and we talked about the long-term travel. So when I said that when I said that I recommended people, if you're going to take like a sabbatical and you're going to travel around for a while and you think your family's going to be scared, I always tell people, just tell them you're going to one place. Were you okay with, so I told you I was going to Thailand, and then next thing you know, I'm getting, I'm going to like, here's the next place I'm going. Do you think that made you more nervous or less nervous, or did you not mind that I was moving from place to place?
I think by then it was the adventure of it. I think the first picture that I saw, you went to, was it Paris? The first night.
I stayed
Your hair was short.
Tokyo. That long layover. I had a long layover in Tokyo.
I think the pictures is what sort of won me.
Okay.
Just to see, because there's a fear in the unknown. And it seems like our hearts and minds generate towards what could be the worst possible thing that could happen, And then when I saw the pictures and I saw the look on your face, even though that night it was dark, I know that. Your hair was shorter then, and you looked tired because you had a long flight, but you looked happy, And so I think after that, it was like, well, let's just track her and see where she goes. What's the next country? What's the next adventure? What's the next set of pictures? The pictures of you bathing the elephants in
Thailand.
Just the motorbike with the little animal walking down the street beside you, like a moose, or not quite a moose, an oxen or something.
Oh yeah, those water buffalo.
The water buffalo, just all the different adventures, and the people who loved Steffi's hair and complexion in
all over,
everywhere she would go, and they would jump in the pictures with her, and you'd see that. And so I think bit by bit, as I began to see what your adventures were, it sort of took away some of the fear. And then I always knew when you were coming home.
Yes.
Because you'd always say, I'm going for X number of months and I'm coming home.
Yes.
Or I'm going for X number of months and I'm going there. And then Dad and I had planned that one time to meet you in London, I think it was. But you had run out of money and you had planned to come home. So we missed out on that part of it.
When she says they were planning to surprise me. Yeah. You can't surprise a person who doesn't have any money and no place to be. So I was in Paris with Marcy, my cousin Marcy, and Marcy had already planned to go to Italy to visit some friends because they're some Air Force friends. And she was like, "Oh, let's stop. I'm going to stop by Paris and we can hang out for a few days." And I was like, "Yes." So Marcy came to visit me, and I was running on fumes. My bank account was on E. And I was like, "Marcy, here are my choices. I can either touch this money that I said I wasn't going to touch, or I can take myself home." And she says, "Well, it sounds like you're not ready to go home yet." And I'm like, "Marcy, this is bad advice." She's so responsible. Marcy is like the responsible, mature adult person. And here she is telling me to blow all the money that I have saved. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go home. Excuse me. I'm going to go home. So I get on the phone and I call mom and dad and I'm like, "Okay, here's the date. I'm coming into JFK. It was like 4 days later. I'm coming in JFK. Can you pick me up?" And my mom was like, she's holding up their passports. "We just got our new passports in the mail. They were going to surprise me and come to Europe. But you got to let me know ahead of time." I can't stress to y'all how much money I did not have. I think I had, when they picked me up at the airport, I had like $36. Like, you can't surprise that kind of person. She is not prepared to hang out for another handful of days in London. It would have been nice. And then when I house sat in London the last time, my dad was like, "Oh, we're gonna come. But that didn't happen either. You can come in. My dad's home, I think. The door just opened. You can come in, Dad. I think he hears us talking and he's changed his mind. Yeah. So we haven't done, but we haven't had a chance to hang out all together, like in Europe. My dad would enjoy that.
He would. He really, that's been his heart.
Yeah.
To get to Europe.
But he's totally not interested in Mexico. No matter how much my mom raves about it, she loves it. She was looking at realtor offices. I was like, "What you doing? You can't move to Mexico. You're married. You have a husband. You can't move to Mexico." But yeah, no matter how much she loves it and how much I love it, he's not interested in coming down to Mexico. If he did ever come to Mexico, I would be shocked and stunned. Yeah, Monique says she knows about those Disney World tickets. When you go to the timeshare presentation, we recommend that.
Yeah, you just have to be willing to sit through the presentation. And my husband is such that he can rush them through.
Mm-hmm.
He can rush them through. He has this theory that whoever holds the pen holds the conversation. So he'll take the pen from the presenter, and as long as they don't have another pen, and he can write the figures, he's in charge, and then they're ready to let us go.
He was a negotiator. Like part of his job at DuPont was negotiating contracts. Mm-hmm. So he can negotiate anything. Mm-hmm. I am a terrible negotiator. Let me tell you one time. So I was in Thailand. I think it was Phuket or somewhere down south in Thailand. And the lady who was running the hotel was very nice. And she says to me, I said, I want to go to the mall, just a regular mall. And she was like, the tuk-tuk driver, or I don't know if it's a tuk-tuk or a taxi or a motorbike or whatever. She's like, the charge is going to be 50 baht, which is the Thai money, 50 baht. That's how much he should charge you. So I go outside, I flag him down, and he says 100 baht. And I say, right, so this is my big chance to negotiate. And I say, how about 80? Mm-hmm. Like, I started way higher than I wanted to end. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm the worst negotiator. Mm-hmm. Joe, when my dad negotiates things for me and I mess him up, he can't forgive me for it. One time he negotiated a good car price for me, left for some reason while we were in the office. And when he came back, I had gotten like extra like that insurance, the gap insurance that I really didn't need and whatever. He never lets me forget that. But he's the negotiator. I'm not. Mm-hmm. Gigi Cat says, hi, Mom. You have a wonderful daughter. We all agree. Who generates happiness and possibilities. I get that from my mom. That's what we have in common, right? Like she says, you have to have hope. My mom holds on to hope, and she believes in being happy in herself, you know. Some people are just miserable, you know, and I've never seen Connie Perry like that. My mom is just happy. I know she's happy because she wakes me up singing hymns. Yeah. She'd be down in the kitchen just singing, honey, just singing. Yeah, from my mom. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I get that from. So what people find in me that is like happy and pleasant is from my mom.
It's the way you have to live. Otherwise, you're not living. You're not enjoying yourself. And you have to. Things are not always the way you want them to be. But even in that, you find something to joy and rejoice in. Rejoice. If you don't have what you think you want, it's for a reason. Things come, things go. I hate to say people come and people go because I never liked that thought. But, you know, you begin to realize some things are not for you. And if they're not for you, it's best to let go than to try to hold on and live your life as a struggle. Mm-hmm. I don't want to live my life as a struggle. No. I want to enjoy every minute. Rather, it's sitting on my sofa, watching whatever's my 600-pound life. Tell them, Steph. I always see my mom Wednesday, 8:00. Mom is sitting on the sofa watching my 600-pound life and eating snacks. Like she is just rubbing it in their faces. Yeah, keep eating, people. Yeah. But you know, you find right now I'm waiting on my peony bush to bloom. Yeah. One of my mom's favorite flowers. And I planted 3 and only one survived, but the one that survived is huge. Mm-hmm. But because of the weather here being so cold one day, warm the next, rainy one day, sunny, it's not bloomed yet. I'm sort of glad it hasn't bloomed because I don't want the rain to wash it away. Yeah. But I'm sitting here waiting on it for more joy. You know, just the things around the yard and around people. Like I said, with my women's group at church, a lot of them are widows and a lot of them are older than I am. And so they're not able to get out right now. And so one of my joys is to find something to bring them joy almost every day. So we have a texting group. And so I may text them something there. And a lot of them have joined Facebook recently. So I try to give them a little picture or something of something that I have seen in my travels, that is something that I have photographed, and to send that to them, something to bring joy, because I don't want them. I know they can't come out. I know we can't go to them, but just something to bring joy in the midst of whatever's going on. The other week, when I had my birthday, Steph and I did go buy masks, and we slipped down to one of the ladies' houses, and I called her And I said, someone's sitting in your driveway. And she goes, somebody's in my driveway. I said, yeah, somebody's out in your driveway. And I said, where are you? Because she usually sits in her front room and watches TV and looks out the window. And she didn't come to the window. And so she came, she said, I'm in the kitchen. So she finally comes out and we took her cake, took her a piece of my birthday cake with some candy and some tea, but we didn't touch her. I took a picture, selfie backwards of us and left. But if my day can make a difference for somebody else, then I'm happy. And Steffi knows that. She used to say to me when she was younger, Mom, doesn't take much to make you happy. And I'm thankful for that part of it. So, we accept what, is it Twinkie Clark, I think, sing a song, accept what God allows. You accept what God allows, and then you find your way through that to what is for you. So, like Steph says, I'm happy all the time. And I guess you could say that, but it's joy through sorrow sometimes. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I'm happy that God gives me the heart to keep going on, to know that he's there and whatever he allows has a purpose. And right, I'm thankful. I'm not going to preach, but I'm
my
thankful.
Mom's an ordained minister.
I'm thankful that Miss Stephanie is here and that Joseph is well. Like she said, he had the heart attack last year. I'm thankful for that he's up and about doing more than we want him to be doing, because he works on cars all the time. He buys cars and sells them, and so. But I'm just thankful. I'm thankful for each of you on the feed here, because when we are grateful for Stephanie's success and good health and all, we're grateful for yours as well.
Yes.
And so I like seeing you all. Sometimes your responses on her YouTube channel. I like to see those.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. She says, thank you for sharing my beautiful mom.
Oh.
I don't share that much. This is it. People always are like, oh, I would just want you to know how wonderful your mom is. I'm like, yeah, but she's mine. Like, somebody else.
Stephanie.
People say that. People always say that in church, mom and dad. People like my dad a lot, as much as I've said mean things about him on here. And people always like, oh, I just want you to know how wonderful your parents are. I'm like, yeah, I know, but you have to keep, find somebody else. I'm not sharing them like that.
She came to church and one of the guys, they all call him dad and stuff, and she don't like that.
I don't like it.
Who is that? She'd say, so mean, scaring them. I said, that's dad. Those are people that care about dad. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And we're all blessed to have people that care about us.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So if you have any other questions about this, we're going to go ahead and bring this to a close, because like I said, my mom will start. She will preach. She's already quoted 3 scriptures.
That's the limit for the day. Steffi's a mess. I tell you, she's a mess.
But if you have any other questions, so I hope that what you learn, I hope that what you see from us, not learn, but I hope that what you see from us is that it's possible, right? You can enjoy hanging out with your mom and traveling with your family members or whatever. Being different generations doesn't affect us as much as having different travel styles. Mm-hmm. We happen to have the same travel style, so it works out. Mm-hmm. Even though my mom is not. She thinks that we're the same age. She always says stuff like our age and our generation. I'm like, we are not the same age. I have to let her, we are not the same age. But but being different ages doesn't affect our travel, especially not for me, because I'm not skydiving and bungee jumping. I'm not doing that. So we have, we do the things that we have in common when we travel.
Right. We know that ahead of time.
We do the things that we both like. We both want to sit in a good cafe and eat some good whatever, quiche or whatever. What did we eat at that place? And my mom still is looking it up. Cafe Montana. She was like, she told me. She knew before I knew, and I was in town. Mm-hmm. Cafe Montana closed. Mm-hmm. They're not open. Mm-hmm. And then when she came back, she's like, we got to ride by. Is Cafe Montana open? We're both upset about it. Yeah. We're devastated.
The best soups and breakfasts and everything. Crepes.
Crepes. Yeah.
Oh my God.
So we just do the things that we have in common. Mm-hmm. And that's it. And we're both okay with even though we argue with the who's going to plan right? Whose job is it to plan the stuff? We're both okay with nothing being planned.
Right. We can read. I can walk around with my camera and just shoot
Take pictures. I get taking pictures from both. My dad used to be
he
into
used to be a family
photography.
photographer, yeah.
When I was a kid, he was a photographer. I think he even developed photos. Do I remember that
when
right?
he worked for DuPont. Yeah, he worked in a lab one time, the photo lab.
Yeah. So we all like taking pictures, or we like it more than him now, but we all like taking pictures. And so I get that from them too. It's okay if all you want to do is go somewhere pretty and take some photos and put yourself in the photos. Like a lot of people are opposed to selfies and opposed to travel photos with you in them, but put yourself in the photos, because one day that you're going to sit down and look at those pictures and you're going to feel so good remembering yourself in that time. And
we're there.
Yeah. So we both enjoy that. Like it's okay if all we're going to do today is go someplace, take a bunch of pictures, and then go home and look at the pictures.
Last year during what is that big flower? Sunflower time. Steffi said, we're getting dressed today and we're going to go out and do a photo shoot. And so we got dressed and we went to the farm and we did a photo shoot, and we had a good time with that. That's the picture I used for my birthday photo for Facebook this past month. And
the little selfie that we took is the one I used for the cover, for the thumbnail for this video. And that's just us in the sunflower field, like 20 minutes away.
Just having a good time. You just find things to do. With the people you love and enjoy being with. So I'm thankful to speak to you all today and encourage you, mothers and daughters, to find, if you haven't already, I'm sure many of you have. We're not unique in this way, but if you find some places you want to go, or some memories you want to make, or something you want to do, something silly you want to do. We do a lot of silly stuff together, and just enjoy living. Just enjoy living. Be grateful. I'm grateful I have a daughter, and I'm thankful. I believe she's thankful she has her mother, and I know she is. And I don't know if any of you saw the CBS Evening News last night. They were talking about who was the best mom, and the little son said to his dad, "I have just adapted to the fact that I have the best mother." So it was funny to me. Steph says I can't tell a joke, but anyway,
I still don't.
It was funny to me. But I'm just grateful for family and for you all, and I'm grateful for everybody who has reached out to Stephanie on her journey. You've all increased each other very much. I know that, and that's a blessing. That's such a blessing. I'm trying to remember the name of the lady that we met in Memphis. Your friend. She's interviewed you before.
Tiffany,
yes, Tiffany, Tiffany and others. It's just beautiful. I was looking forward to going back to No Madness this year, but it had to be canceled because of the virus.
I had the pleasure to be on a panel at Audacity Fest, which is a travel festival for Black and Brown travelers, or travelers of color. They are doing something online this year instead of in person. This year it was going to be in New York City, but of course it's not. So they're doing something online this year. You can check them out at audacityfest.com and see what's going down. So we'll participate digitally this year instead of going there. But that was fun, and Mom got to see other people who do the stuff that I do, the stuff that we do, so that she can see that it's not like weird.
It was just a wonderful experience. Wonderful.
Okay, well, happy Mother's Day, friends.
Happy Mother's Day, everyone. Enjoy your day. Cook your mom breakfast tomorrow, like Steffi's going to do for me.
Monique, I know Monique gets multiple Mother's Days because Monique lives in the Netherlands.
So happy. Yeah, that's right. It changes.
So you get theirs and yours. So happy Mother's Day, Monique, and everyone else. Okay. Thanks for hanging out, guys.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Let me know what else you want to talk about if you want to hang out and spend some time together. Next Friday, we have Dr. Aku, who is a licensed clinical therapist, and she's going to talk about, she specializes in helping Black women heal from trauma. So we're going to talk about not only like recent traumatic events, but just in general, how we can heal from trauma. You know that I think the way that we do it is we quit our jobs and we travel for a while. But we're going to talk about just that. That'll be next Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Make sure that you're subscribed here, and I will put up the notification so you will know. And I'll send it out all over the World Wide Web. It'll be on social media. So if you follow me anywhere, I'm at Vicarious. and you can participate in that because it's going to be a Zoom call as well as a live stream. So if you want to actually talk to her and actually ask questions, we can do that too. All right. My mom's Instagram, one more time, is GANMOM, GAN_MOM. GANMOM. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here, and we'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Stay safe, everyone.
Yes.
Stay safe.
Yes. Okay, there it is. Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye-bye. Love you all.
Was that fun?
That was